Folks, I'm just going to run through very briefly before tea, in a couple of minutes, some of the work of Sharon, who, as I said, unfortunately can't be here, and she would really love to be here. And you know that the title of Sharon's research is Exploring the Prevalence, Experience and the Management of Nipple Pain in Breastfeeding Mothers. Again, I mentioned to you earlier on, I mean, trying to tackle, certainly I have been very much interested in trying to tackle some of the problems, the challenges in relation to women stopping breastfeeding, and one of the reasons why we know they stop is nipple pain. So we started to do some work in this area. So she's really only into her second year of her PhD, but the work is fascinating already. And we've been working with Adele, so I'll share a little tiny bit of that with you. Now, I'm not going to read out all of this slide, but I do think there's an awful lot of it that nearly everybody in this room knows. There's nothing really new. We've got really good research evidence about breastfeeding, and I'll give you a second to read that. And the most important thing to say is the mantra that we all believe in, and the one thing that we hear and we try very, very, very hard to impress and to help and to support women to actually achieve is, in terms of most of the problems, at least it's always important for people to know that there's something they can do, and they improve the position attachment to pharmacological interventions for infectious skin conditions, referrals for maternal or infant conditions, anatomical abnormalities, application of breast milk to nipple area. I mean, that's from NICE. This is some of the really helpful information, and it is really important that we have something. We don't have all the answers, but we have some of the answers, and what we've got to do is try to get better at finding the information, and more importantly, is better at sharing it, which is why the work that Adele does is so important, because, and of course Janet's here, and Janet Calvert does too also in the PHA, leading breastfeeding from the Public Health Agency. This is the information that Sharon obtained from the I think it's the most recent information, and maybe Diana would agree with us in terms of our breastfeeding rates. And as you can see, with same sort of trends, I mean, we normally see, pretty good, not too bad, start off quite well, and then we dovetail off. But I think that, again, I'm going back to say that I do think things are improving, and I think since 2016, I do think we are actually going to start to get better and better at this. There's just so much more positive atmosphere, so much, the messages for breastfeeding, everything seems to be improving at long last. So much work has been done. So we are delighted to see and to hear, and I'm sure Diana will speak to you about it later. Things are definitely improving. And Sharon just wanted to say, just in relation, as you mentioned, she did a presentation last year, and she was going off to do her systematic review, and she was also going off then to explore the prevalence, experience and management of nipple pain in breastfeeding mothers through an online survey. What we wanted her to do was we wanted her to spend some time really getting to speaking to women who are actually experiencing breastfeeding and finding out from them at this moment in time what was happening. So we were absolutely delighted to get an opportunity to work with Adele, and that's what happened. So we did a breastfeeding Facebook post in July, and here were the simple questions, and we had 84 mamas with 141 babies who responded to the short survey. And believe it or not, as anticipated and as expected, and what you see in the literature, 95% of them suffered from nipple pain. So I mean, it is something that it's even good just to see that, to actually know that it is real. Nobody's running away from it. They're telling the truth. It is a real problem. And what do they do about it? Now, it's very difficult for you to see this, and I can't really make it an awful lot bigger, but I'll try to read some of it off this, because it is important. It's important information that she's obtained, and if I was to share anything with you, it's probably that I would like to spend a little second or two just going over some of this with you, because we wanted her to find out in the first one the types of interventions used by mothers to try to help with the nipple pain. And it's quite amazing to see how the non-pharmacological things that people are using, and you can get the cabbage back up there, the coconut oil, baths, and these dressings are quite popular at the minute. The Actiform Cool, the Multi-Mam, the compresses, and the Gelinet dressing. I don't know if all of you know about these, but these are the things that came up from the BFNI. And the protective devices, still using the nipple shields, the breast shells, and the silverette cups, which I'm not quite sure. I don't have a picture of what they actually are, and breast pads. And of course, again, it's like almost like we could have put this into prevention, but it's the other things that they're trying to use: position, attachment, latch, self-attach, intervention-free birth, time. These are all the comments that came from the women, and experience, knowledge. Pop lib, I have no idea what that is, and underwear. This is maybe Adele could help us with some of this here. I have no idea what pop lib is. Absolutely zero. Ah, class. Oh, brilliant. See, takes you in there. You know about these things, so please speak up. And then the psychological. I mean, it's psychological factors here. The practitioner support, the lactation consultant, the peer support, the support group, the Facebook support group. I mean, really, women were really using their support. Family, friends, perseverance, stubbornness. I really like that one, and mind over matter. I think, as you get down the list, it just shows you how determined some women are, and they will fight through that nipple pain. They will fight through it, and they will succeed. And the table then showed the intervention use and if mothers found it helpful, because we wanted to find out what kind of interventions these mothers were actually using and were they actually helpful. And as you can see here, the pharmacological, only one, and it was of course pharmacological, and you have 89%. And dressings, we see some of these things are not really that helpful, and I know that they're not in descending order. It should be 89 and 74 and 76. Well, that's just the way we are, boring academics. We always want to see the numbers following in ascendancy order. So bear with us. But when we find my way through this, the poor soul only put this together for us yesterday. So as you can see here, the important thing is that I don't know what all these others are, but 74% of all these others, some are up here somewhere, and these protective devices, which will be the barriers and the nipple shells, the breast shells. So you can see that the women are using quite a lot of interventions. Now, I'll give you a little second to read that, but it's about just getting, when did the pain stop? And over half of the people didn't tell us. And then 16 of them didn't have any pain, and it says here 72 had pain, so it doesn't quite add up, but don't worry about it. There must be a reason for that, and I can't explain it because Sharon's not here to explain it herself. But as you can see here, she was trying to find out how long the pain lasted, because we knew that some women had nipple pain from the minute they breastfed to the minute they finished, and they had that with baby 1, baby 2, baby 3. So she was trying to find out about that, because that is, and some women just accept that and get on with it, and the pain's there. So did the pain lead to discontinuation of breastfeeding? 22 mums with 39 babies provided information. So a very small number of the sample actually provided the information, less than a quarter. And mums experienced pain with 38 of the babies. 35 said it did not lead to discontinuation of breastfeeding, and 2 informed us that it did. So, I mean, if you look at that, 22 mothers, out of the 22 mothers, it says here, like, one, it looks like we really only lost 2 of the women who actually said that it actually led to discontinuation. And the average length of the breastfeeding journey, again, it looks like the average length was at least a year, which is really great. And of course, I mean, again, tribute to the work of the Facebook Northern Ireland. The support has been very, very helpful. Has been expressed breast milk. I mean, you can see here that some of the things that mothers have used, and really kept being told it shouldn't hurt. Talking to other mums, must have had pain. Now, I mean, when Janine Stockdale was here, when we started to do Janine's research, Janine will tell you, I mean, we were working with BFI, we were working with with the knowledge, you know, and we were looking at the information that was being provided. One of the things that we were concerned about was that it wasn't made, you know, explicit to expect the pain, so we were trying to normalise it. Now I think we've heard a lot of stuff today, and I think that, you know, when we're sort of given information, I think it's quite okay, and I think it would be helpful to a lot of women to say to them, you know, expect nipple pain, you know, don't run away from it, don't pretend it's not going to happen, because it does happen, and it's about just saying that it happens. And here are things that other mothers have used, and I mean, we're going to continue on with this study to look at a range of interventions. We started out with we were looking for a range of interventions which include pharmacological and the psychological, because we know the psychological can work very, 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 very well. So we're just going to see how things progress. But that's all I can tell you about Sharon's study, and